Welcome to Growing Startups, where we talk to growth leaders and marketing professionals about how to drive sustainable growth from the ground up. I'm your host, Evelyn Cools, and I lead marketing for tech startups. I'm excited to share these candid conversations about marketing, culture, collaboration, and everything else that makes startups grow. In this episode, we're going to be talking to Asaf Wolff, who is the SVP Growth and Experience at University of the People, has been there for over a decade. So we're going to talk about growing a business, and we just have a bunch of really cool things to cover. But before we get into all of that, Asaf, do you want to give us a quick overview of your background and what you do at University of the People?
Sure. So I actually went to a law school, and after I completed my degree, or during my degree, actually, I started to work in a test prep company teaching students for SATs and GMAT. And then I just moved forward in the corporation, and until I realized that I'm not going to be a lawyer, and I made it all the way to be a deputy CEO. And when I did my MBA, I met Shai Reshef, who is the founder and the president of University of the People. He offered me to join, and I started in my first year basically being the COO of the organization, small basement, 5 employees. So it's like the three people in the garage, right? And after some time, I remember that in one of those days, he asked me, why don't we have enough students starting this term? And I said, what, is that my job now as well? And he said, of course it is. And since then, I'm overseeing marketing and growth for the last a bit over 12 years now. It's been quite a journey. We are today the 10th biggest university in the US with over 150,000 students, more than 2,000 team members across the globe. It's been a hell of a journey and very inspiring to see that, and I feel very fortunate to be part of that.
So you've been there from really on the ground, just a few people, really that true startup story that especially here in America, I feel like we all love the, rags to riches kind of thing where you build something from scratch, from really in a in a basement. Something that we do on this podcast, outside of obviously talking about growth and marketing, is we start every episode with a wellness practice or ritual. And it sounds like you've been on quite the journey. Being in startups is very intense sometimes with a lot of ups and downs. So, is there anything in particular that you do that helps you stay, connected to yourself and grounded?
Yeah, I'll just say to echo what we said about the intensity. I remember that after 2 months at the university, um, one of my colleagues asked me how things are going, and I said I can't believe for how intense things are. I came from corporate, and I was just shocked. But we were then applying for our initial accreditation, so I said it's probably going to look much better very soon after we submit the application. And he laughed and he said, you still don't understand where you are. So I do, so in my good days, in my good mornings, I start my day with a yoga. And that's really, helped me to become a better version of myself during those mornings. We are working with, we have team members in, India and Middle East. And so it can be very challenging to start your day very early in the morning, directly, to meetings. Um, so I find yoga as something that really helps me to focus and, you know, come more prepared mentally to start my day.
Yeah, great for mind body connection. I remember working for startups that were also based in, a lot of different countries. And if you have 9+ hours time difference, those early morning meetings can be brutal. And to get your mind active, it's not easy. So you already mentioned this in your introduction, but you helped University of the People grow from, well, you were there for 3 employees, but from those first 10 employees to and having 100 students only to now being the top 10 university in the U.S. Talk us through how that growth journey went. I'm sure there's so much to cover here, but anything in particular that changed over time as you were growing the business?
I remember that every year we were sitting together and thinking, okay, so this year we brought 500 students. How are we going to bring 1,000 next year? And then we brought 1,000. How are we going to bring 2,000? And we were clueless. We had no idea. But we felt that it's going to happen because we knew that there is a need for us. We are here to solve a global issue. We know that there are millions out there who needs higher education and cannot access it. We know that we are solving and eliminating the barriers for them. So, it's all about how do we put our foot at the door? How do we make sure that they will hear about us and trust us? Because it all sounds too good to be true. And I think that that was the challenge. And that's our biggest challenge until this day, creating that awareness. There are still millions out there who needs us, even in the US. They have no idea that we exist. They have no idea they can study tuition free, high quality accredited degree anytime, anywhere. And some of those who do know that or hear about us, they think it's a scam. It sounds just too good to be true. So I think that we were very lucky in the sense that we didn't have a lot of resources, so we had to do the most basic um, um, the most basic fundamental things that really build your foundation. Those things that everyone tells you that you need to do, and you run and spend money on ads because you want to bring immediate results. So we didn't have that. And so we looked at the funnel. That's the first thing we did. And we look at the conversion rates, and we saw 0.12 conversion rates. And we looked at the funnel, we looked at the application process, and we just felt doesn't make any sense. It needs to be better. So we worked on the funnel, we really analyzed the data, and we built a new application funnel. We brought it to be around 20% today in the US, from a lead to or an applicant to a student. So that was the first barrier to growth that we had, that we were able to solve. And then it was all about how do we bring more people to the upper funnel? How do we
Mm.
create the awareness? So again, we didn't have resources, so we had to just do the basics: SEO, content marketing, organic engagement on social. Until this day, we are one of the biggest universities with in terms of the number of followers we have on social. Facebook, I think around 2 million now. But our engagement rates are extremely high, comparing to really any industry that you will look at. So, and the secret is that we were just doing it. Basically, we didn't try to sell, we didn't try to push. We were talking about things that people cared about. We are really engaging with the community. So that was the second breakthrough, and that foundation that we build in terms of SEO. Everyone tells you do SEO. This It's like going to the gym, right? It's good for you,
Mm.
but you don't see immediate results. So it's very hard to get yourself out of the house and go there. But that's basically what helped us to build the muscle of the growth. Until this day, I think 80% of the traffic coming to our website is from organic traffic and SEO. So after we've done that, we kept thinking, how can we expedite our growth even further? And then we started to run ads. But we can't compete with other players in the market. An average university in the US spends $5,000 today to bring a student. We have around $100. And so we had to choose very carefully, using data, using creative approach, both to creative, but also to data um, media buying. We had to be very smart, looking for the blue oceans and those potential students who needs us, but again have no idea that we exist. And on top of all of that, we always thought about how can we make it all scalable. So we want to build a model that will be there for today 150,000 students, but we plan to continue and grow because there are millions who needs us. The way to do that was through marketing automation that we implemented back in 2012, 13. Um, and that was one of the best decisions we ever made. We worked with Adobe Engage. We even won an award 2 years ago because we really bring the platform to the max. The team is doing an amazing things. And yeah, so that was a hell of a journey. And today we are looking for additional growth elements, and we are thinking about, additional markets to go after. Like, we started to do SEO in Spanish because we know that there's a big need there. We are Obviously, we went into TikTok. We had to at some point. We're working with creators again, trying to create to work on communities and doing it all internally. And so, yeah, there's so much potential of growth. And I guess the one thing that we've done during those years is we tried. We were always early adopters. We were the first ones out of the universities to jump on marketing automation, on mobile first websites, CTV campaigns. We are there, we try. Sometimes we fail, but that's how we make sure that we will stay at the top of the trend and be able to bring results that no other university can bring.
Sounds like the kind of beginnings of how you approached marketing, having almost no budget, is was kind
Exactly.
of a blessing in disguise because you actually did all of that like foundational work that sometimes people miss, or like you said, it's so tempting to immediately throw a bunch of money at ads and kind of like these channels that you know you're going to get leads. Who knows what the quality of the leads are, without working on those funnels, on your conversion, on just building the trust organically as well. So I feel like that's sometimes a hard sell for founders is, if you come in as a marketing person and you say, okay, I want to spend this amount of our resources on organic growth, um, since it oftentimes takes a longer time to actually show results. So, do you have any, I guess, advice for people on, what's a good amount? What amount of resources should you put towards organic growth, and how can you advocate for organic growth in combination with those other channels?
Yeah, I'm not sure I have. It's like asking someone, again, going back to the same metaphor, how many hours do you need to go to the gym, every day? It really depends on your goals. I mean, if your goals are to bring immediate growth and sell the company, then SEO may not be the right way, right? The organic effort may not be relevant for you because you see there an exponential growth, but it takes years until you see it in all its glory. So I think it really depends, and I guess that one of the most important things when we talk today about marketing is all around resource allocation. Um, what works for one doesn't work for another. I went to one of I think it was Edwig's conference, and the CMO of Coca-Cola spoke there, and she was talking about how they shift money from advertisement to creators, and I think Adobe that talked about it as well there, and it was fascinating. And I asked them, what portion of your budget do you spend right now on creators when it comes to marketing? So obviously they refused to answer, but the question wasn't relevant because what's working for Coca-Cola may not work for you, right? It's a constant question of look at the resources, look at what you're spending, look at the return of the investment. Don't miss on the ripple effects. Don't look only the direct impact, and ask yourself, am I allocating the resources in the best way, thinking about my goals, my objectives, short term and long term. If you walk So most of the years I always told my team 80% of the work should be on immediate results. Only 20% should be long term. And that worked. That was enough. So I'm not saying put 80% of your efforts on long term because you'll probably die until you see the results. But don't let go of those 20% at least, and make sure that they are aimed towards the long term results. And again, really depends on what long term means for you.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good benchmark to have, is the kind of that 80/20. I think that's usually the sweet spot that I find myself in as well. Especially you're in a startup, you don't have as much time as a really big company to figure out what's working in that long-term approach. I'm actually really curious because I personally haven't explored the TikTok and creator realm very much. I did a little bit a few years ago when I was at a direct to consumer company, but I feel like in the B2B space, it's still a little bit less common. I'm just really curious what your experience has been like working with creators, working on TikTok. It's such a new area for marketing.
Yeah. So, I started as a team of one, but today I have around 50 team members just in the marketing team. Um, Amazing, amazing people. And we brought in house someone to run the creators effort for us after we worked with an agency and started and felt how it works. So I don't know how much how many details I actually have, but I can tell you that it's one of those efforts that you really look at the ripple effect and you look at the awareness that you're able to create. So unlike a company that sells makeup on TikTok, and it's very easy to put the coupon code and the link, and you can see immediately what's it's doing for you. And I was in amazing session by the CEO of Milk Makeup, and they've done amazing things online. But that's all not relevant for us, right? We are all about creating awareness, and so it's a much softer approach when it comes to creators. And I think it's about creating an ecosystem of community that is supporting you and standing up for the brand. One of the smartest things we have done in the last decade was to build a very strong base of ambassadors of our students, and they're like an army of the brand, right? So they are there, they are engaging, they are supportive, they are thankful for the opportunity to study tuition free, and every time we need them, they jump in. We have I think around 10,000 ambassadors today, and that's very strong muscle to use. And so when it comes to TikTok, we are talking about the creators, but the reality is that there are so much of UGC being created and generated online by our ambassadors and our students. It creates amazing awareness. If you Google today our name and with the word review, you will see that we have unbelievable ranking wherever you look, and that's really thanks to the ambassadors and to the students who are just there. And we just told them, hi, we if you're willing to, we'd love you to say what you think online, and they are.
That's awesome. I mean, you said like one of your biggest challenges was building trust, which, makes a lot of sense for your business and kind of like the more standard universities that people are used to. So something that you mentioned in a previous call that we had was that fast growth starts with great customer experience. And I feel like this is kind of a culmination of that as these ambassadors really like openly talking about their experience. Can you talk a little bit about how you approach that and how important you think the customer side is to marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember the year that I first found online Scott Stratton, and he wrote amazing books about marketing. And one of his biggest, or the one sentence, he says a lot of amazing things. Check him out. But one of the things that the one sentence that I cannot forget from that he said in his on his podcast was that marketing is not a department, it's not a task, and it's not a job. It happens every time you engage with your audience. And so every time your customer service representative talks to a customer, a branding is happening there, right? There is an interaction with the brand. Every time they read your post, every time they go to your website, every interaction with the brand, it's basically branding activity. And so to me, the fact that we are keep thinking about marketing, I mean, it slowly more and more organizations in the world are understanding it better. But old-fashioned marketing, we keep thinking about it, the marketing as a lead generation machine, and we don't even connect it to sales, right? Marketing will create awareness, branding, nice. colors, logos, we'll spend millions on that, and then sales will do something with those leads, and that's it. But the reality is that marketing is the ongoing engagement that we have between the customers, potential customers, previous customers, current customers, in the brand. So it happens, yes, in the journey to become customers, but also during the sales process, obviously after the sales, and actually during the journey with you. And for us as a university, that's a long journey, right? We have students studying with us even 8 and 10 years. So you really, when you think about marketing, when you think about what your customers or potential customers think about you, think about the experience, because the only way that you can grow, assuming you don't have endless amount of money, and really no one today have endless amount of money, um, is if your customers will share their experience with their network. And sometimes they are doing it actively if they are ecstatic, and sometimes they will do it passively if they are just satisfied. But if they are unhappy, or if they are just indifferent, then you're not going to grow. I mean, maybe at the beginning you'll spend a lot of money, you'll grow, but it will be fake growth, and it will die. So yeah, I definitely, that's how we envision it, and we spend more and more resources, more and more tools, more and more workforce on experience. We still have a long way to go, but that's definitely what I believe in. Yeah.
You brought up something like a really good point. Traditionally, how marketing operated was a lot more in a silo. I feel like a lot of departments kind of operated that way, where like these separate parts of the customer journey don't really talk to each other. But I do feel like that's changing, like you said, and people are starting to see the value of that full customer experience. And it's also kind of the beautiful thing about being in early stage startups is if you are a small team, it's so much easier to actually like change the way that we collaborate, change the way that we're, working on these things together. And as the organization grows, I feel like that can sometimes be a little bit trickier. But there's a lot of things that happen when a business grows. And I mean, you said it yourself, going from the one person marketing team to now 50 people. At what point do you feel like you need to start putting, I think startups, a lot of the times you kind of like do things ad hoc. You're learning as you go about, how we approach things, putting processes in place. How do you go about that? Like, at what point do you start putting processes in place? Should you? To what degree?
Yeah, it's a good question. We are still trying to figure it out ourselves, I think. We're in a process for quite a few years now of shifting from this startup mentality to I don't want to say corporate mentality, but to become more organized. Um, I feel the way that I see it is that you should definitely read the textbooks. You should definitely read the guidelines. You should definitely learn from the biggest corporations out there, but then you should throw away all of that
Mm.
and just get inspiration by that. Don't copy paste, don't use it as a template, because it's not going to work. You need to take the essence of how it should work, and then create your own way forward. Don't let go of what makes you unique. If you'll try to be just another Amazon, you're not going to succeed. There's already one out there. Um, so you need to take your uniqueness and creativity and agility, and then combine it with the right processes and the right methods, right? And the right approaches. And it's really not rocket science. It's really a lot of common sense. Most of the books that you read about the right way to manage, and the right way to lead, and the right way to work, you'll read them, and they will not surprise you at all, right? You knew that. It's like, I don't know, reading about how to lose weight. Like, there's no surprises there. But sometimes you just need that articulation or that understanding, and the really tricky part is how you take that and implement it into your life or into your organization. We are still trying to figure it out. I think there are In some there are some places where we are doing a fantastic job, in some places we're really not. And one of the most critical parts there is also to understand who are the people that you need to bring in, when do you need to bring them in, and what are the qualifications. We did a lot of mistakes in the past trying to bring people who are way too senior from corporates way too soon, and that just didn't work. And I think we are becoming better at that, but we are still, evolving. And so I would say, know when someone got to his limitations, and if they cannot evolve anymore as part of the growth of the organization, that's the time to bring someone else. But you need to think very carefully about who you bring. Needs to be the right person for that right time to help you make the next jump, because if you bring someone who is here and you are still here, it's usually not going to work.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Where do you feel like you're at right now when you even just the conversation between like hard skills, soft skills, more like mindset, corporate mindset versus startup mindset? Like, what are some valuable things for you when you add people to your team?
I don't know where we are between a corporate and a startup because I never worked at a corporate.
Right.
It's, so I don't know. I hear from my friends that, but I don't know. Um, to me, we are still trying to figure out, as I said, how do we keep our strength of being so agile and quick and dynamic, but also becoming more organized because we really do need to become, and we are, but it's a process. Um, when I hire people, it's all about talent. I'm looking for people who are just smart and intelligent and fun to work with. The beer test, right? It's we try to make sure that we have a diverse team, both because we work all around the globe and our students are really everyone. But also because I believe it makes you better. The diversity of opinions, the diversity or in terms of point of views, the arguments, the conflicts. Those are the things that make you stronger and better, and those things really important to us. Um, and when I see that someone didn't share their personal opinion for whatever reason, that's to me like I feel it's like a failure. They something didn't work because I want them to argue, I want them to disagree, I want them to raise the flag. Um, and yeah, so again, it's all about bringing people who are smart, who are fun, and who are passionate about what we do, who really care about making education affordable and accessible to all. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like also just people who are very like open to different ideas. The marketing world is changing rapidly. I feel like in the last 5 years, it's changed so much. Like when I think about what I learned in college versus what is out right now, it's just not even comparable. So how has that been for you? Because you've been in this industry for a while. How do you feel like marketing has changed maybe over the past couple years even, especially when it comes to new technology?
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I think I'm trying to. It feels like it's becoming harder and harder just to catch up
Mm.
in terms of learning and understanding what's going on. I think that the shift in the consumers' behaviors in terms of how they make decisions, in terms of where they search, it's just, it's insane. And I went to one of the conferences. There was a discussion about Generation Alpha,
Yeah,
which is, oh my God, like what? There's another one coming up.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, even more challenging for brands. I think that I don't know where this is all going, but I do know that what's happening in the last couple of years in terms of AI. is I don't know how to call it even, because it's the first time that you look into the future and you're not sure what to plan for. I was in Google Cloud event in San Francisco, and I asked, the Google people, right? I asked them, how is it going to work? Because you live on Annex, and now with your AI tools, Gemini, back then it was Bard, how how are the ads going to work? It looks like the entire search is going to be dead, and people will switch to just talk to the AI agent. Obviously, they didn't have, or at least didn't share any answers, but I honestly don't know. And when we are having discussions today about content generation for search engine optimization, I don't know if 2 years from now there will be content marketing on search engine. I don't know. So you need to diversify, and you need to understand that you don't know, and you need to make decisions in high uncertainty, which is extremely hard. And again, it doesn't mean that you don't need to plan for tomorrow, because the basic truth is still there, right? Who is your audience? Where are they? How to tell them what they need to hear at the right time and place. Um, and so, it's how do you work on your funnel? How do you work on your awareness? It's all still there. So if you continue to do the right things, good things will happen to you. And if you're trying to trick the world, well, the world is just it's going to get much smarter very soon.
Think you said it right with the it's just you feel like you can never catch up. And as someone who in big part grew up on the internet, even so, I feel like I'm always behind. So, especially with AI, I think there's like a new MarTech tool out every single day that I hear of, and just trying to figure out like what's worth putting my time into and actually trying to put into my processes and see if this is going to help me or just, another tool that just sits there. I think that part's been difficult with the amount of things that are coming out. Are there any tools that you really like or anything on that you feel like I've kind of like found some things that really help me?
There's a fantastic website about that is called, I think, is there an AI for that, which is basically a search engine driven by AI to find AI tools.
That's
There
cool.
are there are unbelievable tools that you can find there, especially in marketing. We found amazing things, and so, but the truth is, the strongest tool that I have is really my team. And I think that today, if I was again building everything from scratch and a team of one, it would be so much easier these days. The AI tools out there are just amazing. You can do unbelievable things. You can even talk to an AI just to understand how to talk to another AI to generate whatever you need. Um, so I would say just honestly, use AI. And yeah, I guess that's honestly, I you wouldn't believe how many times a day I'm working with an AI tool. I think today it's like at least half of my day, half of my time, I'm at- in some kind of an engagement with an AI tool.
Is it
And
mainly like ChatGPT or do you have other go-to tools?
we have others. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like it's all over the place. I mean,
Yeah.
today when you go to Canva, you have AI, right? You go to Outlook, you have an AI copilot. So it doesn't matter. Whatever tool you're using, um, use that, because you can be so much more productive. Um, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a marketing team of one and I kind of use it as an intern or an assistant or someone that I can just like brainstorm ideas because I feel like what you said, your like best asset is your team. And I think marketing teams of one, that's really the piece that's missing a lot of the time is just someone to brainstorm with, like even just with copywriting, help think about, does this sound good or do you think this sounds better? And that's really like the way that I've been using it day to day. But Yeah,
Yeah.
I've found myself incorporating it in so many of my tasks, so probably like you, maybe half the day.
But here's the other thing, and I think the secret sauce here is the human creativity that needs to come with that at this point. The world is going to be filled, or it's already filled with, just junk generated by AI because everyone has the access. You can generate 10 blogs in 1 minute, right? So, in order to get the attention, in order to win the competition, you need to harness the AI power to make you better, but don't give up on yourself, right? Or your brand or your creativity, because otherwise you just generate trash that anyone else can, and it really won't bring you anywhere. And anyone who works with SEO and saw what happened in last March over Google update knows that by now, right? So yes, use AI absolutely, but use it in a smart way. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah.
No, I think that's a great closing point because I think a lot of marketers are afraid that, their jobs are gonna be gone because AI can do all these things, like you said, generate 10 blog posts in a minute, but people still need to feel that connection with the content that they're seeing. And if you know how to put your own creativity and your own talents into like prompts and things that you can use AI for, that is the secret sauce, like you said. So I think that's a great point to end on. Before we completely close out, I always ask guests, what is something that you're excited about in both your professional and your personal life?
Um. Ooh. Well. Um. Personal life, I guess I would say we have a Halloween camp next weekend. I'm going to take my little son too, and he's looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to see him excited about that. Um, and we also have an Eagles game coming up this Sunday that I'm taking my adult son to watch. So yeah, there's a lot coming up. Professional life, this is, I think, a very important year for us. We are looking forward to continue our growth. We are going to shape and shake up a lot of work processes in our department following AI. So it's going to be a very interesting year. Um, yeah, exciting times. What can I say?
Yeah, very exciting times, and Halloween is also a very exciting time. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun with your son.
Yeah.
Very last thing is just where can people connect with you?
I'll say LinkedIn. I think that's the best. I'm always reading the messages. I always respond. So LinkedIn is the place. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Asaf, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our conversation today. And yeah, to everyone listening, I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much for having me.